With the code, you can now have a better understanding of the separation of concerns. So there's two separate FastAPI servers, and we're mounting the Flet app on the the FastAPI application. So it's definitely more complex, but you have a bunch of benefits. The separation of concerns is much clearer. You could use the API endpoint for the addition, that would be the business logic, and use standard web patterns. As is often the case, the UI code here is in many ways more complex, and you're also dealing with how does the styling look. Because the styling creates an emotional response in people, the students will often spend quite a bit of time on the UI. There's no problem with that, except that it does take away from learning about, for example, architecture. As you can see, the actual logic, so the guts of it, right? So this would be, if this was a more complex application, right? The algorithm right now is very simple with a plus, you're just adding two numbers, but this would be most of the value of your application, and the UI, it could be replaceable. Additionally, because we're using Flet, this UI is actually simpler than it would be with something like React or Vue or another JavaScript, in that at least you're still writing Python. You don't have a separate folder of HTML and JavaScript. In actual practice, it's unlikely you'll deploy the Flet application with this type of architecture. This is for learning. You can now abstract out the API layer from the UI layer, and you could theoretically use something like React or Vue or Flutter or a Kotlin Android app for the front end and have it access the back end. And you can test the back end separately. Let's do an example. Open up another tab here, and then there's a commonly used tool called curl, which I have installed from Xcode on the Mac. You could store these bash scripts, or you could use Python directly to test the API. So this is, you might be familiar with it, so it's curl. There's a post command, and I'll put the local host, and the port that we are using is 8550. Then we have our API endpoint, which is add, and the header, we'll set it to content type application JSON, and we'll send the data here with the -d, which will be we'll put it in quotes, it will be in curly brackets and we'll set the two numbers, for example 5, and it will be B with a :3 at the end of my header. So close the quote, bracket, so it's -d, and then you have the JSON string, but it's in single quotes. Inside of the JSON string, you have A and B have double quotes, and you can get the result. So you could test it, which is 8. You could test it like this and test your logic, or set up some type of script to test your business logic this way. More than likely, you would set up a Python script to do this and use PyTest to do the check on your API. So my friend Jesse Kasman is making this course available 100% for free. So since there's 30 videos right now, it's difficult to have on YouTube. It'll be free. Sorry, so the buy price would be 0. And then you can start using this course on, right now it's on Teachable. He might move it, but it's much easier to go through the course this way and see what stage you're at with the course. You should send them an email here at jkasman@opkey.com and ask him where the course is. It might motivate him to finish it. It's just a service to the community. There's no cost. We're just using one of the platforms like Teachable or Thinkific because it's easier to manage your progress with the courses instead of the YouTube course that we're using right now. Again, if you do find this course valuable, send Jesse a note and encourage him to finish uploading the courses, the videos to this course, and then it'll motivate all of us to help to keep the community educated. Thanks.